Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We don't often give the young and the restless credit for getting it right, but when the show does, it does. And in the July 17 episode, recapped here, it absolutely did, as it had Lucy reveal to Mom Heather that neither she nor Dad Daniel really wanted at that very moment to take off for Portugal to see Grandpa Paul Williams. Heather, as anyone would, reacted, but later she and Daniel talked it through like mature adults. The only downside is that in having Heather decide not to fly solo, the show missed a banner opportunity to break up a couple that, despite their portrayers' best efforts, isn't exactly setting the audience on fire. Not for nothing, but was anyone rooting for Daniel and Heather after he cheated on Lily to be with her? We'd have fired his butt too. If Heather had gone overseas, she could have returned from her visit with Paul with a fresh perspective. He's looking back at his life and wondering what could have been. Now she is too. And while she loves Daniel, she doesn't necessarily love him. If she thinks back to the last time she felt that kind of passion for someone, she'd go all the way back to Adam. What's more, by the time Heather came back to Genoa City, her ex might well have been single again, owing to the ticking time bomb that is his tryst with Chelsea. Sally probably would have forgiven him if he'd told her about it right away, but at this point, doubtful. So the door would be open for Heather to make her move. Sensibly, Adam would remind her that things hadn't ended especially well between them the last time around. He'd like to think that he's changed, but how much can a tiger's stripes really be altered? Heather doesn't care. She's sick of seeing things in black and white and wants to color in shades of gray. Would he like to color with her? Lucy, naturally, would be horrified. Dovihei happened to her parents in the blink of an eye. Heather would calmly explain that she will always be there for her daughter, but she also has to be there for someone else, herself. I'm not going to end up like your grandpa, she says. Mama's gonna get hers. With that, Heather and Adam team up to take Genoa City by storm, in the process setting right a character that Young and Restless has always seemed to find tricky. She was conceived back in 1979, when Mom April Stevens moved in next door to Snapper and Chris Foster. A real cat in those days, Paul dumped April when she refused to get an abortion and ran off and joined a cult. That's where he and Nikki Newman produced surprise son Dylan McEvoy. Eventually, Paul tied the knot with April, but only because she was deathly ill. He grew bored of married life before the wedding cake had even gone stale, and was relieved when his wife took Heather and left Genoa City with her folks, who discovered that the child they gave up for adoption years earlier had struck it rich. When Vale Bloom took over the role of a grown-up Heather in 2007, a rocky road still lay ahead. The role was recast 3 years later with MVP Eden Regal, but it was a disaster. Here, the Emmy winner explains why. Emmy winner Jennifer Landon was signed on to play Heather in 2012 and lasted even less time than Regal. Finally, 11 years later, Bloom reclaimed her role but walked into a story of dubious merits. After Daniel left Genoa City with Landon's Heather, the couple broke up off-screen, so we didn't have a lot of investment in seeing him reunite with Bloom's Heather, especially not when we were already enjoying his romance with former wife Lely Winters. Heather did manage to get Daniel back, but then what? Her only family ties to the canvas are her boyfriend and their daughter, whose biological mother was Daisy, one of bold and beautiful she-devil Sheila's Carter's hellspawn. Maybe it's finally time to let Heather really let loose and be the super vixen that Regal found so challenging to play. If so, she couldn't have a better playmate than the black sheep of the Newman family. He doesn't even need to go looking for trouble, it just has a knack of finding him. Agreed? Share your opinion in the comments. And on your way. London's Parliament Square on Wednesday became the site of a special display honoring Ukrainian athletes who lost their lives since Russia's invasion. The number 487, signifying the sportsmen and women killed, was placed on the lawn of the sk.